Everybody, I am Victoria Longo, and this is my video all about what is energy. I wanted to put this video out early on because this is going to be influencing a lot of what I'm going to be talking about in the future. And I'm going to be describing what is energy. And this is by no means a full definition, or, maybe even if you look it up in the dictionary, it's a different definition. But this is the definition that works for me. This is a definition that my mind is best able to understand and process and really use for the work that I do, because I do practice energy healing. And what I realized when I first came out with this, or when I first studied energy healing, I was so excited about it. And I started telling people, hey, I do energy healing. And they would be like, oh, so you plug me into something? And there was this complete lack of knowledge about what I actually did. And there still is for a lot of people, because it is not part of our language. It's not part of what most of us grow up knowing. And so I realized that there's just a huge, lack of understanding, and went back to, how did I put this together? How did I understand energy? And the way that I look at it is that energy is in everything. There is a lot of cultures that believe that the wind carries the energy, and it does, because we know we can have wind power to there's wind power and water power, and so we can harness energy from it to provide us with energy. There's solar power, so there is energy in that sense. But there's also our cells in our body need energy. There are so many things going on in our body at any given time within our organs. Our heart's beating and pumping the blood, and our lungs are exchanging oxygen and carbon dioxide in and out of our cells, and our lymphatic system is processing waste, and there's all these different type of cells that we have to fight off different things, or to power our muscles. So all of that happens without us thinking about it. And when I start to think of how many people this is happening to at the same moment as me, and then you add in all of the plants that are going through similar processes. They're growing, they are, converting sunlight and photosynthesis. So there's a lot of things, that are happening in that world as well. And then there's the bugs and the animals, and everybody has their own process. And so there is something that's feeling that, and it's energy. Now, we've come up with ways that we can measure energy. We have EKGs and EEGs that can, actually tap into that. So, it's there. We don't see it, but we can measure it, and we can, to some extent, read it and use it. Now, just because we can't see these things happening doesn't mean that they don't exist. It doesn't mean that it's not happening and it's not real. At this very moment, my organs are doing what they need to do, even though I don't see it happening. So, for me, it just shows that it is there at all times, again, in everything and around everything. They've also done studies of how, energy can and intent can impact water molecules, and our thoughts, feelings, emotions do have an energetic component to it. If you've ever walked into a room after two people have had like a really major argument, or somebody's had this complete, meltdown, it's palpable. There's a tension in the air that you don't need to know that it happened to know that something happened. Our hair stands on end, to alert us to something that's going on. And so, there's just all of these different areas are made up of energy. And so when I talk about energy and when I look at energy, it is sometimes about our thoughts, feelings, emotions, because it's huge. The impact that it has is huge. When I do energy healing with somebody, I'm not actually healing them, but I do have tools, a set of tools that I can use that can help somebody's own bodies, help trigger somebody's own bodies in a healing, because our bodies can regenerate and can heal themselves. We do have that capacity. It's hard to make sense of something that is so illogical, and to try to verbalize it, because it does cover so much. And again, I don't know that I know that I'm not covering everything that it is, because it is so much. But this is the best way that I've been able to understand what it is that what I've studied and what I'm working towards. I've had people say, well, why are there so many different types of energy healings? If they work, then why isn't there one? Well, there's, how many billion people on this planet, and everybody is different. Nobody is the same. And so what resonates for somebody might not be what resonates for me. Does it mean it doesn't work? No, it just means that my body has a different frequency, maybe, that requires something else than what somebody else's body does. And if you want to look at it from a Western perspective, there's people who do get illness and disease, and they might have the genetic predisposition, but there's others who have the genetic predisposition who don't. Why is that? It's just the way that we are made up. It's our frequency. Now, to go a step further with energy, it's, again, everything is energy. Everything that's in us, everything that's outside of us. Everything that exists is energy. And so there are spirits. I am somebody who is a medium, so I do talk to dead people, and that's, fairly normal for me. And I don't see that as it's just like they're on a different frequency where I can't see them, but I can hear them. If I just, I just tap into that radio frequency in order to access them. And we are all super sensitive. We are all energetic beings. And I think it's a shame that we're not taught to honor that, and we're not taught to, take care of that, because there's so many things that we can, that we take on as our own. But maybe we just felt it from somebody else, because we are all energetically connected. And I, rather than dive down that rabbit hole today, because there's so many different ways and so many different areas that, this conversation can go, I just wanted to give this basic definition, which maybe not so basic, of just how I've come to understand what it is. Because again, I'm going to be talking about this stuff a lot over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be talking about the energy of food, because food does give us energy. We may not think about it anymore, but food does give us energy. When we consume it and our body breaks down the nutrients and, all of that stuff that happens. There's the energy that goes into preparing the food. So that's going to be a topic of conversation in the future. There's the energy that exists between people, and that energetic connection that some people just click better than others. So I call this energy universal energy because it is, for me, universal. It's in everything, it's around everything, through everything. Some people want to call it God. For me, it doesn't matter what you call it. Just the fact that acknowledging it exists, it's we're able to use it and to work with it, and really enhance the quality of our lives by acknowledging it. And so when you hear me talk about energy, it's just there. It's in, we don't have to create it, although we can create solar power by creating this machine that's going to convert the energy from the sun into something that we can use to power our electronics, right? So we can do that, but what really matters, and the whole point, I guess, of this video is the energy. What is energy? Energy is just there. It's not something that we can see. It's something that we can definitely feel. It's something that we can sense. And again, we might be able to see it when we create these things that are able to interpret it and use it, but it doesn't matter that we have those things or not. It's just there, and it's knowing how to use it and to tap into it and to really step into that to get to where we want to be in life and what we're looking to do. So I hope this video was helpful to you. I welcome any comments or questions about it, and I look forward to chatting with you again in the future. So have a great evening.